Hi, hello and welcome back to F1 Challenge VB. My name is Mephisto and our journey through the history of Formula 1 continues today with the opening round of the 1961 season, the Monaco Grand Prix. But before we begin, as always, I'd like to thank everyone who took part in the straw poll. I really appreciate it. I'd also like to thank pretty much everyone else as well. Whilst the poll is a way for me to interact with you guys by allowing you to choose which teams Andy will be driving in a given season, it also gives me a better understanding of how many people are really interested in the series. That's not to downplay the role of anyone else. Of course, every view, every like, and every subscription is very welcome. And ultimately, that is what helps the channel grow. With that out of the way, let's have a look at the poll results. There were a total of 68 votes, fewer than I expected, but hey, you can't have it all now, can you? And here's a breakdown of the poll. Neither Scuderia Serenissima nor Camoradi Internacional received any votes. Scuderia Sant'Andrea's Rob Walker Racing Team and H&L Motors received 1 vote each. Ecurie, Marsbergen and Yeoman Credit Racing received 2 votes each. Scuderia Centro Sud received 3 votes. Owen Racing Organization received 4 votes. Porsche had 5 votes. Cooper received 8 votes, making them the third most popular team. Lotus was the second most popular with 12 votes, but the clear winner was Ferrari with 29 votes. So this means that we'll be driving for Ferrari for the third time in 12 seasons. I personally would have liked to drive for a team I haven't driven for yet, but if this is what you guys want, then I have no other choice than to respect your decision. Once again, thank you to those of you who took part in the poll, and thank you to everyone else who's supporting the channel in any way. Now let's move on and talk a little bit about the 1961 season as a whole. The 1961 season started on the 26th of March and ended on the 26th of December. It was made up of 31 races. Only 8 of them were part of the World Championship, whilst the remaining 23 were non-championship events. The Drivers' Championship was won by Phil Hill, scoring 34 points. Or 38 if we are to take into account the dropped points. Von Trips finished the season in second with 33 points, and Moss ended in third with 21 points. The Constructors' title went to Ferrari, who won 5 of the 8 races and scored a total of 52 points, but with the dropped points they only had 40. Lotus were second, winning the remaining 3 races and scoring 32 points, and Porsche finished in third with 22 points, or 23 with the dropped points. 1961 proved to be yet another deadly season for Formula 1, with no less than 17 people losing their lives during the course of the season. Shane Summers, who I couldn't find a picture of, was the first victim. He died during the Silver City Trophy held at Brands Hatch. Giulio Cabianca was the second fatality. He lost his life during a test at the Modena Autodrome. But the deadliest accident of the season took place at Monza during the Italian Grand Prix, when Wolfgang von Trips lost control of his Ferrari, flew over the railing and into the crowd, killing the German and 14 other spectators. An incident I'm sure reminded a lot of people of the tragedy that was the 1955 Le Mans disaster. With that said, I'd like to also talk about a few changes to the regulations for the 1961 season, the first of which is a small change to the scoring system. More precisely, the winning driver will be awarded 9 points instead of 8. However, it would take a full year before they would do this for the constructors as well. I have no idea why I couldn't find any concrete information on why this happened. Anyway, the second change I want to talk about is one that was very controversial at the time and received a lot of backlash from both fans of the sport and drivers. This change was a reduction in power from 2.5-liter supercharged engines to 1.5-liter unsupercharged engines, and people were pretty much up at arms about it. In fact, as I understand it, the backlash was as big, if not bigger, than when the FIA banned V10s in the mid-2000s, and if you're anywhere near my age, you'll probably remember how well that was received. Not well at all. But with all that said, let's take a look at what happened at the opening round of the 1961 Formula 1 season, the Monaco Grand Prix. It was held on the 14th of May, it had 21 entries, 16 of them took part in the race, but 3 of them failed to finish. The race consisted of 100 laps, completed in 2 hours, 45 minutes and 50 seconds. Stirling Moss started the race from pole with Ginther in second, Clark third, Graham Hill fourth, Phil Hill fifth, and Von Trips started from sixth. Moss Haas drove a superb race to win the Monaco Grand Prix. Ginther finished in second, just 3.6 seconds behind the Brit. Phil Hill crossed the line in third, 41.3 seconds after the leader. Von Trips crashed out of the race on lap 92 but was classified in fourth. Dan Gurney finished in fifth, he was 2 laps down, and Bruce McLaren rounded off the top 6, he was 5 laps adrift. The fastest lap of the race was shared by Richie Ginther and Sterling Moss, both posting a time of 1 minute 33.3 seconds. We return to the streets of Monaco for the opening round of the 1961 season, where a lap starts off with a short sprint into turn 1, a tight 180-degree right-hand hairpin. Next is Saint-Devote, a medium to high-speed corner. Make sure not to let the car go too wide through here. We then go up the hill and into Massenet, a slow left-hander, and Casino Square, a slow right-hander. Be on the lookout for the bump in the road just on the exit out of Casino. We then come into Mirabeau, a slow left-hander, that takes us down the hill and into the station hairpin, one of the most iconic corners in Formula 1. Next is Portier, a slow right-hander, which brings us into the tunnel. Shortly after that, we reach the port chicane, by far the most dangerous corner of the track. This is followed by Tabak, a medium-speed left-hander, that brings us onto the main straight, and that is a lap around the Monaco street circuit. And here we are in qualifying, coming around to set my first and only qualifying lap, a 1:39.785. I tried to do better, but actually I crashed after this. However, I don't have a recording of it because I stopped it by accident, so that's it. And here are the previous Monaco Grand Prix winners. Andy Higgs won pretty much all of them, except for the 1950 Monaco Grand Prix, which was won by Nino Farina. Anyway, Richie Ginther starting from pole with Trentino in second, Phil Hill third, Jim Clark fourth, fifth Bruce McLaren, and Tony Brooks rounding off the top 6. Jack Brabham starts from 7th, followed by Dan Gurney in 8th, 9th is Sterling Moss, Innes Ireland is 10th, followed by John Surtees in 11th and Giancarlo Baghetti in 12th. 13th is held by Lorenzo Bandini, followed by Graham Hill in 14th. 15th is Andy Higgs, then we have De Beaufort in 16th, Roy Salvadori 17th, 18th, Maston Gregory, Jackie Lewis is 19th, and Joe Bonnier in the Porsche back down in 20th. So that is the grid lineup for the opening round of the 1961 season, the Monaco Grand Prix. I'm very excited for the new season. Hopefully things will go at least as well as they did in 1960, if not even better. So we are now off, and almost immediately I crash into Graham Hill there, easily recognizable by his helmet. I didn't really want to, but he braked a little bit earlier than I would have expected him to, and well, I ended up hitting him. But we are now back on the straight, up in 18th. Well, we lost a couple of positions there, but hopefully we can catch back up in the coming few corners. However, I go a bit wide through Saint-Devote here, allowing Jackie Lewis to overtake me, so I'm now down in 19th. Maston Gregory is behind me in the Camaradi, and he manages to overtake me through Massenet here, where I lose control of the car, trying to keep the car in a straight line, but was quite impossible. The car is very twitchy and difficult to control, not entirely sure why. And here's a replay of the start. We saw there I hit Graham Hill once again. It wasn't intentional, I just didn't expect him to slow down that early on, but we kind of make it through, and well, did lost quite a few positions, but hopefully again we'll be able to recover. And here is a replay of Phil Hill losing the lead of the race by crashing into the hay bales and then flipping into the pits there. This is a replay of Lorenzo Bandini, who loses control of his car, and I'm not entirely sure what happened, but it kind of glitched out, and well, he's out of the race. And this is Dan Gurney, who loses control of his Porsche, flies into the bay, and that's the end of his race. And this is about the same time Maston Gregory crashed into me coming into the port chicane and forced me to lose control. So I'm now at the very back of the pack in 17th with all the retirements, and this is a replay of Jack Brabham flying into the bay, so he is out of the race. And here is a replay of Richie Ginther coming around to post the fastest lap of the race, which is quite amazing considering that this is only the second lap of the race. No one managed to go any faster later on, so whatever. We now move on to lap 13, and I'm slowly slowly catching to De Beaufort, and here is a replay of Joe Bonnier driving his car into the bay as well. And next we have a replay of Baghetti pretty much doing the same thing. And the owner of that yacht should probably learn to move his yacht during the race, because it's been pelted by cars every single season thus far, so he must have a very good insurance if he still has the courage to keep his car there. Anyway, this is a replay of Roy Salvadori, who also flies into the bay. And on lap 5 I finally caught up to De Beaufort. We see him right in front of us in his Porsche Marsbergen, and here is a replay of Bruce McLaren flying into the bay as well. So that's another retirement. And as we start lap 6 I finally managed to overtake De Beaufort, so we move up into 11th, thanks in part to pretty much all the retirements. However, as we move further along the lap, I lose control of my Ferrari, hit the curb on the left there, then hit the railing, somehow fly over the railing, flip the car upside down, and well, that's pretty much the end of the race for us. And here is a replay of it. I come around Massanet there, hit the curb that somehow froze me into the railing. De Beaufort comes around, he pushes me over, and the car flips upside down, and that's pretty much the end of the race for me, unfortunately. So that's that. And here is a replay of Sterling Moss on lap 10 coming around. He flips his car upside down, not entirely sure how, but he did it, and he is out of the race, obviously. And this is a replay of Maston Gregory on lap 15 coming into the Porsche chicane, hits the hay bales, loses his front left, and he is out of the race as well. Next we have a replay of Jackie Lewis flying into the bay and retiring, obviously. So that's that. Next we have Maurice Trintignant, who loses control of his car, drives through the pits as a result, drives into each and every single parked car in the pits, creating a complete carnage in the pits, and then gets stuck in a hay bale, and that's where he'll stay for the remainder of the race. And this is a replay of Graham Hill, who loses control of his car and then kind of gets stuck in the railing there. His car glitches out, and that's where he will be for the rest of the race. And here is a replay of Jim Clark, who crashes on lap 30. And finally we are looking at Innes Ireland coming around to take the win of the Monaco Grand Prix, the opening round of the 1961 season, with the new 1.5 liter regular engines. And well, here are the race results. Ireland wins, Ginther second, Brooks third, fourth is De Beaufort, and Surtees finishes in fifth. And here are the retirements. Unfortunately we are among them, but not much I could have done about that, I do not think. Especially after Gregory crashed into me, the car was quite difficult to control, so I kind of feel that kind of played a role in all of that. But anyway, here are the career statistics, and this was Andy's 96th Grand Prix. His best start is from first, has 5 pole positions, has set 15 fastest laps. His best finishes in first, has completed 67 races, 55 of them in the points, has won 33 Grand Prix, 4 at the Indianapolis 500, 6 in Monaco, has 7 championships under his belt, has scored a total of 370 points, has retired 29 times, has experienced 2200 out of 2666 laps, has 6 bronze trophies, 9 silver trophies, 33 gold trophies, and as an extension 33 podiums. And here is a quick look at the championship standings. Obviously everything is pretty much the same. Ireland takes the lead of the championship with Ginther in second, Brooks third, fourth De Beaufort, and John Surtees in 5th, Higgs is in 12th, and Phil Hill at the very bottom for the moment. So that's pretty much it. Now let's take a quick look at the constructors as well. And here we see Lotus leading the championship with Ferrari in 2nd, R.01 Racing in 3rd, 4th are Ecurie Marsbergen and Yeoman Credit Racing are in 5th. And that's pretty much it for the championship standings. Our next race is the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully that will go a little bit better for Andy. I mean, crashing out of the race, especially the opening round of the season, is not a very good sign. So hopefully this won't happen too much. But again, I mostly blame that on the fact that my suspension was quite damaged after Gregory crashed into me on the opening lap there. But anyway, that is the end of the Monaco Grand Prix. Well, the results aren't very shocking. I mean, I would say that was a pretty good race. At least, there were a lot of retirements, but at least they didn't happen on the first couple of laps as we've seen during the 1950s. And this is kind of okay. I mean, even in the vanilla game, it's rare that you will get more than 4 or 5 finishers in a race, especially in a longer race. So, in my opinion, the results are pretty okay, pretty acceptable. So, yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention at the start of the video that this was the first season to feature only rear-engined cars, so that's a thing as well. But anyway, that is the end of this video. Again, nothing out of the ordinary really. This is kind of what I expected. Actually, it's a bit better than what I expected. I expected to see a ton of retirements and Andy being the only one who finishes. Obviously that didn't happen. But yeah, that is the end of the video. You can already start to vote for next season's team, so make sure to check the link in the description, which will take you to the straw poll where you can do so. I also have a second channel where I will be playing all sorts of different games. At the moment, I'm doing a playthrough of Diablo 2 and IL-2 Sturmovik 1946, so if you're interested in any of that, there will be a link in the description to that as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay sharp.